Welcome, welcome everybody. Welcome to another episode of Cynic Meets Sunshine. We're your hosts. My name is Andre, and this is my beautiful wife, Tanisha.
Hey, everybody.
Over here looking like a bodybuilder with cap shoulders and upper body's on point. Nice.
Fresh out of a show.
Yep.
Nice and lean.
So we're back after a week off. We took a week off. Had your competition last week.
Our Vegas adventure. So we went to Las Vegas for my very first IFBB Pro League wellness competition. For any of you that follow me on social media, you probably saw our updates. We posted some photos. I kind of gave everyone an update of how it went. I would say overall, it was a great experience. Competing at this level is completely different than me going and doing a regional show or a national show. These women that I was on stage with are top level wellness athletes. These are Olympians. It's a whole other caliber of athletes. So it was just an honor to even be able to compete at that level. So yeah, that was really exciting. The show that I picked to do was amazing too. Like the promoter went all out. This was like an athlete show. Yeah. They really like rolled out the red carpet for us. It was amazing. That part was awesome. Meeting the women was amazing. Hard part for me was I am a posing coach and I am practicing fluid posing, beautiful posing, personality, standing out on stage. And I was feeling so chill leading up to this show. Backstage, I was even thinking like, I don't feel crazy nervous. Yeah. This is weird. And the second my heels hit that stage, like those nerves kicked in like something I've never felt before. Like I wasn't even able to control my body. I was there, but I was not there. Like all that beautiful posing that I had practiced, everything, I completely just did the most unflattering walk. I had absolutely no abdominal control. Like all of the things that as bodybuilders, we learn to accentuate the good things of our body and hide our flaws. So if you have a wider waist, you're going to walk at an angle, all of these things we know. I just let all of that go. So that was like a little like frustrating for me, but surprisingly, even that didn't take me out. No. I was just like, It is what it is. Like, this is what happened. I was super nervous, but I ended up feeling really good at the end of the day about the experience. I got feedback on the spot, which is amazing instead of waiting weeks. So we know exactly what we need to do, and we're going to go to Miami.
All right. Yeah, Miami in 8 weeks. Let's do it.
Miami.
You can take a negative situation as long as you take some real actionable lessons learned away, then you turn that negative into a positive. And that's where your mindset is. So that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely some great takeaways from that. I think you got to get your feet wet sometimes and then go on to the next one. You can't, some people can just nail it out the box. Yeah. For me, that wasn't the case. I needed to do this and I did learn so much that I know I'll take with me. So what did you think though? Did you like our Vegas adventure?
Yeah, I had fun. I mean, it wasn't our typical Vegas.
We got to play a little bit of blackjack.
It was Vegas, but we can do Vegas another time. But I'm looking forward to Miami. I'm actually looking forward to getting my prep started. So
when do you officially start your cut?
We don't really know.
Because everyone is asking me, like, what's up with Andre? When's he hitting stage? And aren't we thinking summer?
Yeah, summer. Yeah.
Late
That's
summer?
That's what we're thinking. No, summer.
So we don't want to nail anything down,
I'm going to
basically.
nail anything down. When I'm ready, when I'm ready, I will be ready.
Well, I have to say, this is the longest off season we've ever taken. Sure. And you have made, like, some amazing growth. I don't know if you see it yourself.
Probably not.
But you have made some great changes, chest, back, everything has grown, and I'm excited.
That's the plan, yeah. And then your birthday is later on this week.
46.
It's your 16th anniversary of your 30th birthday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's how you do that.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. I love my birthday week.
Yeah, you
Birthdays
do.
are fun.
Birthday week, birthday month.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got going on?
Our son started back up football, so it's time to get busy with competition, football, summer prep. We've got family vacations coming up.
So we're going to Miami for your competition, and then our family trip this summer in Destin. So that should be awesome.
That should be a lot of fun. That'll be for Tiana's birthday.
Birthday after birthday. So this week, we thought we were going to do things a little different. With the travel, we didn't have the time that we typically like to have. We go over a segment and different things that we're going to talk about in the podcast, and we go over the outline. We didn't have time for any of that.
Action tips,
So this week is going to be a little more just a discussion, and we're going to talk about boundaries.
This is so good. There's a couple topics within the boundaries.
Yeah, so the first one is mirco-cheating. You might not know what that is, and we can go over the definition of that.
I had
with
never heard the term micro cheating, but I don't know if I'm just like out of the loop, like, I'm older
like
people.
micro-cheating.
I had
Micro-cheating.
never heard of micro cheating. However, when you started explaining
Yeah,
everything to me,
you
I know
know
exactly
exactly.
what
You
it
know
is. I
exactly
just didn't
what
know
it
there
is.
was that term.
Yeah. And then the second one is in-laws and outlaws. This one is one I've been wanting to do for a while because it really chaps my hide when I see
Not chaps your
it chaps
hide.
my hide. It gets me going. Gets my blood flowing. External people having influence in your relationship, whether it be your
Yeah.
in-laws or relatives, friends,
Yeah.
whatever.
So those are like our two main topics within boundaries.
Yes.
And I think those are good ones. And I think a lot of people can relate to both because
I believe so.
everybody has family.
Yeah. And in this
Most
day and
people
age,
have internet
yeah.
and social media.
Yeah, everyone's on social media.
So I think these are important topics to hit and discuss because they can negatively impact a relationship if there isn't a level of respect and you aren't checking yourself.
So it's probably a good idea if we define microcheating. The definition of microcheating refers to small breaches of trust in a relationship that don't pass the threshold into a physical affair. Examples include leaving a wedding ring at home when going out alone or secretly chatting with an ex-partner online.
Wow.
So I look at it like micro cheating, like micro tears. You'll get
Yeah.
those little tears, and over time they'll cause a break in a bone. So something like that.
All of those little things really add up too. And your partner does notice these things. Like,
Oh yeah.
actually, you brought up leaving your wedding ring at home,
Yeah.
right? So if these small actions, this signifies something larger to your partner, like why is he or why is she not wearing their ring? Like, what message are they trying to convey when they're out? So it's little things and little acts of respect that you want to be mindful of for your partner because they do break down trust, and this will cause your partner to build walls and not be able to be so vulnerable with
Yeah.
you, because they kind of always are watching you. You can tell when somebody is just a little bit off.
Yeah,
Yeah, like my
for
partner's
sure.
always putting fire emojis under that picture. And my
Oh, not the
partner's
fire
my
emojis.
partner's
Ooh.
always doing heart eyes at this particular account, or oh, he doesn't ever wear his ring. These things, they are small, like you said.
Yeah, but they cause
cause
micro
a big
tears over
rift.
time. So let's start off talking about boundaries in the digital age that we live in. You and I got together prior to social media apps, and
God.
so that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But nowadays, people that are newly in relationships, that's not the case.
Right.
So
I mean,
where,
most of them are meeting on social media.
yeah, meeting on
Yeah.
social media, yeah. Where would you say you draw the line between friendly and flirty behavior online? And then the second follow-up question is, does emotional intimacy or secrecy without physical contact count as cheating? What you got?
The first one?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think here, you have to use discretion and you have to just always have respect, right? Like, so I respect my husband. I know my husband respects me. So there's
Yeah.
certain interactions that I'm going to be mindful of, even though my intentions, if I'm interacting with like a guy on social media, I may have great intentions. I
Okay.
need to think about what I comment, what I say, and make sure that it can't be misunderstood.
Okay.
So where I draw the line is, say, because we're in the bodybuilding world, right?
Right,
So
okay.
we've got a lot of things in our feed. We've got, shirtless guys, women in bikinis. I mean, this is constant for us because we're in bodybuilding. It's pretty normal for Andre and I.
Yeah.
So I might see a guy I know on social media just killing it for his show. But I need to be mindful. I think where I draw the line is anything that's flirtatious. I think if it is uplifting in any way or acknowledging his hard work,
Yes.
I think it's acceptable.
That's
I
good to go.
also think, and here's a good thing to keep in mind, in my
Okay.
opinion, how would I feel if Andre's not following this guy? He'll never see it, right? Whatever. How would I feel if Andre was right here and read exactly what I wrote? Would it be misunderstood, or would he be like, oh yeah, I agree with you. He
Yeah.
did a great job. It was good placing.
Okay.
If you have a funny feeling about what you're writing, or you're feeling nervous, or you feel like you need to hide your phone, or you don't want them to see, that might be a little red flag that maybe you're being a little out of pocket.
Yeah. No, there was a few things I heard in there. I heard intent. So I don't know your intent. So that's always a hard one. You can say, well, I didn't intend for that. Well, no one knows your intent other than you.
Yeah.
I also heard that it's green lighted if you're uplifting them or letting them know you appreciate their hard work.
Now I won't
So-
just say uplifting, because you could be like,
Yeah, girl, that
could be,
booty-
that
that
booty,
booty-
is
that booty-
all
booty
day
gives some
long.
work.
Okay, that's enough
All right, I
uplifting.
tried to
Okay,
get, darn, I tried to get in there.
So there's certain things I will say that are uplifting,
Yeah.
and then and what I mean by uplifting is just like acknowledging their
Yeah, I
worth.
think I know what you
You
meant
know
by
what I
uplifting.
mean?
Yeah.
So there's boundaries there too. I think as long as there's a level of respect and you and I, we really know the same people, we're friends with the same people. So if I'm congratulating a guy on doing well in his competition or whatever, it's
Hmm.
probably someone you also are talking to. There's not a lot of side relationships that you and I have or friendships that you and I have
Yeah.
that are separate.
Yeah.
So
Some people that might not be the
that
case,
might
but
not be
yeah,
the
for you and
case.
I, that
Yeah.
that is how. But emotional intimacy without the physical is still cheating in my book.
In your book.
Yeah, in
So
my book.
explain to me why
I don't
that's
know. I,
cheating
I
to you.
I think emotion. If you have an emotional connection to someone,
Hmm.
that is probably in my. And I know this might be controversial, but in my mind, that's probably a little more of a betrayal than a strictly sexual betrayal. Like you're my person, and
Hmm.
I'm your person. If you were sharing things that you didn't share with me with another person, if you were having feelings and talks with someone that you didn't have with me, I would feel very hurt. Like the
True.
level of betrayal is probably just a little over the physical. Yeah, I'm gonna get mad over the physical, but it's a little different. So I think emotional intimacy without physical is definitely in my book cheating. Yeah.
So I'm going to have to agree with you on that because physical cheating is unacceptable, right? It's
Hmm.
a betrayal, it's lying, it's deceitful, all of those things.
Yeah.
However, there are instances where it's like, it can never really be explained, but it's like something happened, this person had an impulse or whatever. But emotional, there is a constant deposit. And this is something where you
Okay.
guys are investing in each
Yeah.
other to
Yeah. Yeah.
build
Yeah.
an emotional connection.
Yes.
That's
It
something
takes
deep.
effort.
And
Yeah.
if you were to decide to forgive your spouse for physical cheating, that's like, sorry, like I messed up. I slept with this person. I messed up. I kissed this person.
Hmm.
But trying to forgive and work through emotional cheating
Hmm.
is so much more difficult because it's like you see your spouse hurting over letting this person go, or I mean that's going to be difficult, right?
Yeah.
Because you see that they've developed a connection.
Yes,
So
for
I have
sure.
to totally agree. I 1,000% think that emotional intimacy without physical is cheating.
Maybe I shouldn't have added the two emotional intimacy
Hmm.
and secrecy because emotional intimacy is totally over the line. So
Right.
here's a line that's emotional
Well,
intimacy was
because
well
maybe you're
over.
having
What
the
about secrecy? Just being secretive. You find out that I had a whole secret account on some
Mm.
social media app.
So
So maybe
these
I'm
are
not
all
emotionally involved with someone,
right.
but I'm being very secretive if that comes to light. Is that cheating?
So that shows intent, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If you're being secretive
Yeah.
and you've got secret accounts and you've got all these things, it goes back to what you just said. It's also a level of betrayal.
Yeah.
It's like you've got side things going on. There's some kind of intent there.
Hmm.
There really is, because what is the
Yeah.
purpose? You do have relationships, unfortunately, where there are high levels of insecurity.
Hmm.
And you have one partner who is extremely jealous for no reason, actually. They just have issues within themselves.
Yeah.
And so you might have a partner who finds themselves being really careful about their interactions and not wanting to be secretive, but almost feeling like they can't be open because they have to walk on
It'll cause too much
eggshells.
shit.
It'll cause too much. Yeah.
So since we're on the subject of privacy,
Secrecy.
secrecy, really, yeah.
Hmm.
So should couples have access to each other's social medias, their phones, and should that be something in your mind?
So, in my opinion, it's fine. I could forget my phone. I can give Andre my phone. Andre can get on my Instagram to, message something back for me. He can check a text. He can go through and look for a photo. I don't start sweating. I don't start freaking out. So to me, it's a yes. I don't have any issue. He has my passwords to
Hmm.
everything.
Hmm.
I mean, God forbid something happened to me, right? Like
Yeah.
he needs to access everything.
Hmm. Remember when your grandmother died and your grandpa had like stuck for months? He
No
didn't pay all the bills. He
passwords.
had no clue
Yeah.
about anything.
Her
That was
whole
hard.
everything that
Yeah.
was hers alone.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I grew up. Like you don't get in Nana's purse,
Hmm.
you don't get into this. These are the
Privacy.
privacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are her things. But for me and Andre, everything is
Yeah.
pretty
That's not. Yeah.
wide open. And this is something that's going to depend on every couple. It doesn't mean right or wrong.
And we're not saying that that's right for everyone.
What
That's
we're
right for
doing,
us.
right? What we're doing doesn't mean you have to share everything with your spouse and have them on your phone, 24/7. All I'm saying is for me, it's a non-issue
Hmm.
for you to have my passwords.
Yeah. Like if I think about that, what would be a valid reason for you not to have access to my phone? I can think of a few and none of them are good. They all deal with I'm trying to be secretive. There's something I don't want you to have access to. And
Mhm.
it's not just my phone. It's the way I'm communicating, who I'm communicating with. That's
Something
what
you're nervous about being
nervous.
seen.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you're feeling that way,
Yeah,
then you know they're
yeah.
inappropriate. You know they're inappropriate. So yeah, for me, the sharing passwords and all that is a non-issue.
Okay. Uh, what's up?
You know,
What you got?
you know what I will say there though,
Yeah.
because how we're saying it's not across the board. What works for us doesn't work for everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
There are cases where when you have an insecure partner, because this is something I've seen recently with friends of mine and
Mm-hmm.
people who are maybe in toxic or unhealthy relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Sometimes they are reserving some privacy
Yeah.
because they have a partner who has such deep-seated insecurity that it's just like the littlest things
Yeah.
can set them.
If you're in a toxic relationship, we should always probably make a side note to that.
We're referring
not
to like a
referring to-
healthy,
yes, healthy
functioning
relationships.
relationship.
All right.
I think for me, if you feel weird about it, if you wouldn't want your partner to read it, if they couldn't go online and scroll and see exactly what you wrote and feel no kind of way about it, just like, oh, okay, and keep it moving and it doesn't sting, it doesn't anything, then you're probably fine. But you should police your own actions.
Yeah.
And you should constantly be building trust and protecting your spouse's heart and their feelings. That will contribute to a healthy marriage, because that's why I don't really ever feel the need to check your phone. It's why I don't go through your messages.
Because we built trust.
It's why I don't worry when you go to the gym for 2 hours and I'm not at that session. I really know that you take care of yourself. You don't treat anybody in a way that you wouldn't treat them right in front of me.
Yeah.
So I think that it's important that we police ourselves.
Yeah.
And that you are just mindful of your spouse's feelings. You're not single.
So that was micro-cheating. The next topic that I wanted to dive into was in-laws and outlaws. So we are referring to external people. Does not have to be a mother-in-law, father-in-law. It could be cousins.
Best
it could
friend.
be best friends, ex-partner that is your best
Close friend now.
You need to keep the,
Yeah.
those situations. But those people, external people that have influence on your relationship. And that it just drives me wild when I see, what was the show that we used to?
I Love a Mama's
I
Boy
cannot
or
stand
something.
it, yes.
Oh,
And then
it
there's
drives
the
him nuts.
Fiance and
Family
or
fiance.
fiance, whatever it is. Oh no, grow some balls already. So I know that there are some family dynamic where the family is very close. Yeah,
Right.
and that's awesome.
Our family is very close.
Yes.
This
Yes.
family, not our extended.
But I know when my
necessarily.
son grows up, like right now, we're raising him to live a certain way, to believe in a certain thing. But at a certain age, he's going to grow up. He's going to get married. He's going to go off, and
Right.
it's going to be his life to live.
Right.
I don't think that you or I should have our hands in that pot. That's between him and his wife, and what they do, how they do it is on them. It's not. We've lived our life. We're having our marriage.
Right.
We don't need to manage their marriage as well. This is our life. Let him live his. So that's how I feel. Like, it really irks me when I see the people not being able to, a mother-in-law and a wife, and not being able to be like, look, mom, stop. You've had your life. I know you raised me. I love you, but you stay on your side. You do you, and we're gonna manage our marriage how we want to. I don't need your input as much if it kind of crosses that line. There's nothing wrong with input. We give input when
Right.
it's asked for.
Because we have two of our children that are married. For me, I'm very mindful here. I trust my kids' decisions, but if there's times they come to me for advice, like you said,
Yes.
I'm going to give input, I'm going to give advice. I'm going to also always try and be objective. I'm not always going to be like, my daughter's right. I'm going to be real with her and let her know, like, hey, maybe you should apologize to your husband
Yeah.
for this or that. So I'm always trying to be mindful of the marriage. I think the thing that irks you so much is when you've got these mothers who are jealous of the wife and they're creating issue.
Yes.
And then you can't stand it when the son doesn't speak up and say, and put his wife first.
Yes.
That's really what it is.
Yes, exactly
That's what
what
it
it is.
comes down to in relationships. When you have outside influences, if your husband and his mother are super close, there needs to be a level of respect. It's his mother, right? So you respect his mother as long as she's kind to you, and you respect that is his mother. However, no matter what, once you are married, your mother no longer comes before your wife. Your daddy doesn't come before your wife. Your best friend. It's like if she's got problems going on and things like that, you be there for her. But she should never, that relationship should never come above your spouse, and her input should never so greatly affect how you treat
And
your
if
spouse.
it does, I think it's like if you allow that to go on, then you can't have issue with the state of your marriage when it starts to tank because you
because
didn't
you're,
put things
yeah,
in the right
in
order.
order.
Yes.
And what you can do though is you can reorder. So if you're
Yeah.
in that situation, you can reorder. I will never forget when I was about to meet Andre's mom for the first time.
Ah, yeah.
Okay, I was so nervous because I was only 19.
Do you
We
know why
had,
you were nervous?
yes,
Why were you nervous?
I was nervous because Andre had told me stories of his mom for years,
Yeah,
okay?
so
How
yeah.
she snatched a few girls up in school.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, she didn't play around. And so I was like, oh my God, like I hope this doesn't go left.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, like, you know, I hope his mother likes me because I thought that would really affect us if your mother doesn't like me. But immediately before we left, he's like, you told me you have nothing to be worried about. Like, if she doesn't like you, because we were going to stay at her house, if she doesn't like you, we're getting a hotel and we're going to enjoy our trip in San Antonio.
Then we'll come home after
then
a
we'll
few
come on
days
home.
and be
Yeah.
life as
And
usual.
it is what it
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
Whether she likes you or not, you're my wife.
Yeah.
And that's it. So he showed me at that moment very early on, I'm his priority. He loved his mother, but it did not matter. He was going to protect me, period.
I didn't have
He
any-
wasn't taking me into a lion's
Yeah,
den.
no, I didn't have any issue with blurred lines. I knew exactly where
Yeah.
the lines should be, and I would ensure that those were the lines.
Yeah. And I just really appreciate that. And I think there's, you know, there's other dynamics, there's other
Yeah.
people who, you know, and cultural differences
Yeah,
and
yeah.
things like that where, you know, you really take care of your
Yeah,
mother and
yeah.
you bring her in the home perhaps. So she might have a lot more access to the relationship.
Access is fine. I'm referring to influence. I mean,
Right.
yeah.
And even in that case, there's a way to have balance. If it is your culture to have your mother in the house helping you guys and she's a big part of the relationship, that's okay. You can still tell her, Mom, you don't tell my wife what to do, okay?
Yeah.
We love you and you're here with us and we respect you. And if the mother-in-law's in the home, you know, there's just a way to set those boundaries and just remind her, you know, that your wife is the woman of that house. And you just, if you lay out the law early, it'll be respected. It's those people who just let it drag on and drag on.
Yeah.
The other person sees that
Yes.
and they follow suit.
Yep.
Okay, I don't have to respect
No,
her.
no.
You know, he's
Yeah.
not gonna make me respect
it down,
him.
yeah.
Yeah. So I can continue to just make them miserable and hopefully push her out. You know, you never know what their intent is, especially the shows you're referring
How
to.
do those shows? Is it because
Ratings
like,
or what?
I can't watch them. I literally can't get through a whole episode.
Yeah.
I cannot do it.
Yeah.
But some people must love that.
And you really do have these people who are just so torn between like wife
Yes.
and mother.
Yeah.
It's really sad to see because in most cases, if they really would just be assertive and put it down, your mom's gonna fall in love.
Yeah, your mom will fall in line.
Your
She
mom
realized
loves
she's
you.
your mom. Yeah,
she
you're
loves
still her
you.
baby
She's
boy.
gonna fall
I
in
get
line.
it, but
when you are just soft about it and you don't speak
Yeah.
up for your spouse,
she thinks
you
she's
are-
protecting you, and the bad wife. Yeah. All right. How do you establish boundaries with in-laws without causing unnecessary conflict? That was one of the questions.
I think that's best established out the gate. If you already have like a weird dynamic, it's going to be a lot more difficult to backtrack. So
Yeah.
if you are starting a relationship, this is really good information to have leading into it so you can just lay the groundwork from day one. You know, but backtracking, I think you just have to be honest, right?
Yeah, you be honest. That's,
Like, listen, this
that's
isn't
my
working.
motto in life.
Right?
Yeah, just honest.
Like, it's a hard conversation to have with people you love, but if they love you, they're not going to put you in a situation where you're in pain and you're conflicted because
Yeah.
you're having to
It's
play
it's
mediator.
stressful. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely stressful trying to play both sides. Yeah. I'm trying to calm you down and make sure you understand. No, we're still good. You know, I love you. You're important. And then you're yelling at me because I'm not putting you first, and I got to go over here. And I
Yeah,
couldn't do
it's stressful. And honestly, this is something you've taught me too about just being direct and being assertive.
Yes.
It's really difficult because I like to have a soft delivery, a sugar-coated delivery.
Yeah.
It's very difficult sometimes to just be direct like that, but I will tell you from being with this man for so many years, when I am just direct and straightforward, it's like a weight off your shoulders because you were able to convey what you felt.
Yes.
It's done, it's out there, and now you can heal,
Okay.
move forward. So I would say honesty and direct conversation.
Direct conversation, because a lot of times when you call yourself sugarcoating things, what's happening is you're losing some of the intent in the
point.
message.
Yeah.
The point is not coming across.
It's
as well.
watered down.
Yeah, it's watered down, and they don't get it. Whereas when I tell them, the
It's
point is made.
understood.
The point is
It's
made.
understood.
They got it. Yeah.
When I tell them, it's got to probably be said 2 more times.
Yes.
Because it
Like,
wasn't
they didn't
fully
understand
absorbed.
it. Yeah,
It wasn't
exactly.
fully absorbed. And that just comes down to personality too. Some of us are going to struggle more with being direct, but it is a necessary evil, especially in these
I wouldn't call
situations.
it an evil, but yeah.
Yeah. Well,
It's just
you're
necessary.
probably
It's
learning even from our podcast
Yeah.
to be direct, but watch your tone. Like how you
Yes.
said, how you can do this in a way
Yes.
that doesn't cause conflict.
Mhm.
You know, be mindful of your delivery because
Yeah.
you're not trying to be hurtful.
No, most of the time not.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about in either one of those, micro-cheating or in-laws and outlaws?
I think I just really want, like, the main point that we're trying to convey here is we're discussing boundaries, like within social media, boundaries within the relationships in your life, your family, your friends, things like that. The main takeaway is when you are married and you have a wife or you have a husband, that person really should be prioritized, and you really are causing a breakdown in the relationship if you are doing things such as the micro cheating, if you're putting other people ahead of them. These things are all noted by your spouse and they're hurtful. And over time, this causes a disconnect. And this will make it where you cannot maintain a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
So if you want to have a closeness, a healthy marriage, a marriage that thrives and grows, and a partner who will really stand by you, they need to feel prioritized and supported. And if you know right now that you're not doing that, you're doing little things, leaving your ring, you're being inappropriate on social media, you're putting family members ahead of them, I would suggest addressing it immediately and watch the shift in your partner's behavior when they feel loved, respected through action.
They'll feel trust.
You will start to rebuild trust, and
Yeah.
you'll start to see a softer side of your partner, I can almost guarantee. What about you? What's your main takeaway you want people to have from these boundaries?
I gotta delete my other accounts that you don't know about. No big booty hoes on my feed.
You have a big booty hoe.
No, but no other big booty hoes on my feed. No eggplant emojis. Those are no. I could do fire emojis if it's.
I can't do eggplant emojis, I thought.
Oh, okay. Can I do fire emojis or no fire emojis? Only one.
You-
A singular fire emoji, and I get one per week. So I have to use it properly. Are those the rules?
I mean, here's the thing. You police yourself. How I'm behaving, is this how I would want my spouse to behave?
What would Jesus do? Is that what would Andre do?
Like, if I behave this way, is this how I would want Tanisha to behave with a guy? If I behave this way, is this how I would want Andre to behave with another woman?
So what's good for the goose is good for the
Right.
gander?
It's like you just, you're mindful and respectful.
Hey, whatever you got to do to police yourself. Yeah, I'm all for it.
Boundaries is the key word here, though, people. So,
all right. What are we talking about next week?
So next week, we might just put out a poll and kind of see what you guys would like to hear. So we'll probably post one to our social media, see what everybody wants to hear.
I'm good.
If not, there's so many little topics just like this that we feel are so important and really relevant.
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, as long as that's still around.
Yeah, all the things,
all
like,
the
subscribe. Also, feel free to share this.
Yeah.
If you have friends, couples, people wanting to be in relationships, share the information to anyone you think would benefit and tag us. We really appreciate the support. We are excited to be doing this with you guys.
Yes.
And please be sure to interact in our polls because that really does help us come up with content.
Yeah, drive the content. Okay. Well, until next time, you guys, watch your boundaries.
Yep, don't cross those lines.
Don't cross them boundaries. All right. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.